Hi everyone, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. So this is take two. My battery died on my phone, so I was having a few technical issues. It was plugged in, so I don't know why it died. But anyway, we are back. I hope we're back. I'm just going to check on my iPad to just make sure that everything is looking okay before we proceed. So let me just double check that. Okay, all good, all good. We're a little bit crooked, so let me just straighten that up now. Had to move a few things, so let's just check that. Waiting for my camera on my iPad to catch up. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, I'm so sorry about that. Oh my goodness, I was talking away and then suddenly realized, oh my goodness, it has stopped recording and my phone screen was black. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So thank you so much for hanging in there. Oh, hi Amanda, how you going? This is take two. This is where we got up to. Take one was cut short, sadly, because my phone battery died, even though I had it plugged in. So I've let it charge up a little bit and we're still plugged in. So here's hoping we can get through the rest of the card now. And I'll have to obviously work out how I'm going to put these together for going on to my YouTube channel. Hey Glenda, oh thank you for coming back again. All right, so this is where we got up to. I think you saw me do the first one and then I did the fourth image on the second flower as well. Oh no, I'm sorry Glenda, it wasn't your end, it was totally my end. I'm so sorry about that. Oh good. All right, so this is where I was holding it up to you and I was talking away and realized that there was no response from anybody. But yes, this is what it looks like at this stage. So we've got the 4 layers there on the flower and now we just need to add the center. Okay, so for the center of the flower, we're going to use Bumblebee. And we're using this tiny little stamp. Okay, so I've just popped that on the end of my long block, as you can see. And we're just stamping that first generation, just in the middle of the flowers. And that gives us our little flower center, okay? And now that one's complete, that one's finished. All right, and I've got a spare one there as well. All right, so that was the purple flower. That was this one here that I prepared earlier. Now for the second flower, let's do this one here, the yellowy orangey one. Or actually, let's clean this first. Oh, Robin thought it was her too. No, Robin, I'm sorry. It was totally me. It was my end. I had my phone plugged into the power and everything, but it just must have got too low that it couldn't cope. So I'm going to try and work fast now so that it doesn't die again, because I let it charge back up a little bit and hoping that it holds out for us. All right, so with this one, we're going to use Bumblebee, Pale Papaya, Calypso Coral, and we're going to use, oh actually no, was I going to use Calypso? Yes, I was using Calypso, and Blackberry Bliss for the center. All right, so the first layer, I'll just pop that one to the side. The first layer is stamped off Bumblebee. Now again, because our ink pads might be really juicy and using distinctive stamps, we want to make sure that our ink pad isn't too super juicy on the top surface. So we'll just scrape that down. Take a bit of, push that ink down into the pad there. Give our little, ah, thank you, Robin. You like those colours together? They look good, don't they? Just give that a clean so I'm ready to go for my next colour when I get to that. Okay, so let's start with our first solid image. We're going to stamp this off again as we did with the first one. Stamp off and then stamp on our cardstock. Okay, great. Then our second layer is going to be Pale Papaya. So we're going to close this one. Bring in our Pale Papaya. scrape that one and just push that ink down. You might be able to see the ink pad getting a little bit lighter as that ink pushes down into the stamp pad. Give our bone folder a clean. And we're doing our second layer. So tap, 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 line that up. This color is a little bit easier to line up than the purple. Purple is quite dark. And you can see already we've got some texture in that flower with those two colors stamped on top of each other. So it's looking great. Then we've got Bumblebee again for our third layer, which is this one here. So tap, 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 and it's just going first generation, so we're not stamping off. Line that up. There we go. Then we're going to use Calypso Coral. Calypso Coral is this one. Calypso Coral for our fourth layer. In the very center there. Just line that up. There we go. And then for the very center of this flower, we are going to use Blackberry Bliss. This one's going to have a dark center. It's for our little center there. And there we go. So there's our yellow flower, our yellowy orange flower. Isn't that beautiful? All those colors just layered on top of each other look awesome. All right, and then we'll give those stamps a quick clean. Ready for our last flower, which will be our pink one. So we want to make sure we get all of that ink out of those stamps because we don't want to transfer that color into our pink ink pads. So I always do a little test on scrap paper to make sure I've removed all of the ink from my stamps. There we go. So if you're just joining us, this is take 2. I was filming previously, but my phone battery died and I had to start again. Well, not start again, but I started from where we left off. There we go. Right, okay, those darker colors take a little bit more cleaning. Okay, so that is that one. Now with our pink one, we're going to be using Polished Pink, Polished Pink and Daffodil Delight. We're only using 2 colors with this one. Where's my daffodil? There it is. Okay, Polished Pink and Daffodil Delight. So we're going to be creating this flower this time. Okay, excuse my very dry hands. I've been washing them so much lately with the puppy. Handling the puppy all the time. I'm forever washing my hands. Okay, so let's put my stamps back over this side. So I've got them in order. All right, so we'll do our solid piece first, and we're using Stamped Off Polished Pink. Oops, I didn't scrape that block, did I? I mean that ink pad. Just stamp that off. And this one I can already see is very, very inky. There's a lot of ink sitting on the top of that stamp pad, so we want to push some of that ink down, into the stamp pad, working with these distinctive stamps. There we go. The Polished Pink is such a beautiful, vibrant color. It's very, very pretty. All right. Okay, let's start again. So tap, tap, tap. And then we're going to stamp off and then stamp onto our cardstock. There we go. So we get that very faint background. And now we're going to do first generation. So we're just going to ink up our second layer of our flower. and this is going to be going straight over the top of that first layer. And you can see how we've got those two, even though that's the same color, you can see the first layer stamped off and the second layer is much darker. So doesn't that give a great effect? Then the third layer, we're actually not stamping the third layer on this one. We're leaving that one out altogether. Oh, hi Jenny, how you going? And then the fourth layer is the next one that we're going to be stamping. So we're stamping that again in polished pink, because this one is going to be a pink and white flower. There we go. And then we've got our Daffodil Delight for the center. So we're just using our Daffodil Delight and just for the center there. There we go. So there we've got our 3 different colored flowers. I did 2 of those. We're only using 1, but I did a spare one as well while I was stamping. So there we go. So there we've got those. Then we've got our, I'll move that away. We've got our coordinating dies for these ones. So these are the pansy dies. And I'll pull those out of the packet so that you can, actually I'll move that away because that will reflect. So these are our dies. So we've got all these different detailed dies that you can die cut cardstock with and make flowers out of cardstock. Then we've got these outline dies which coordinate with the stamps, with the stamped images. And also, as Robin had done on her card, they coordinate with some of the designer series paper. Whoops, if I can pick them up. So you can die cut your images out of your designer series paper as well. Okay. So then you just pop that into your die cutting machine. What I do, because my plates on my die cutting machines are all very marked because I've used them so many times. So I tend to cut each of these images out separately to run them through rather than running through the whole sheet, just so that my other images don't get marked with any of those marks on the cutting plates. So I usually cut them out individually and run them through with the dies. Now we didn't do the leaves, but I'll do one quick leaf for you, and then the other ones I've already got pre-cut, so pre-stamped and pre-cut. So let me just do the leaves before I forget. And we're using Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen for the leaves. Okay. So our first layer is the Soft Succulent. And that's the more solid image that we're doing. How you going, Jenny? Yeah, all is good, thank you. Oops, I got a little bit of extra ink on there, so I'll be careful not to stamp that. Okay, so that's our first layer. Let's give that a little clean. Do you know what I didn't do? I didn't scrape down my ink pad, did I? Let's have a look at the difference. We'll see if there's a difference. I'll scrape this down, push that ink down into that pad, and we'll do it again and we'll see if there is any difference in the detail of that stamp. I think I'm going to need to get a new wipeout shortly. Okay, let's do that again. A little bit, not too much difference, but a little bit. You can see a little bit more detail in this one, whereas this one's a bit more sort of blobby, not as much detail. Can you see that? A little bit more detail in this one, but we're going to stamp over the top of that anyway with our vein detail using Evening Evergreen. Scrape that one just to be sure. That's a lovely deep color, look at that. So yeah, just be sure that whenever you are using, I think I need a new wipe, whenever you're using distinctive stamps, that you do scrape the surface gently of your stamp pads. Be sure to, a bone folder is great because they're nice and smooth. If you are using an old credit card or something like that, just be careful that it doesn't have any sharp edges or sharp bits on it, because you don't want to tear up your ink pad and ruin it. That's why I like the bone folder, because the bone folder is nice and smooth. So I keep that bone folder especially just for that purpose. All right, so then just ink that one up, and that is going to be, oh look, let's do both. That's just going to be stamped straight over the top of your leaf. There we go. Okay. Now, let's give all of these stamps, we'll pop that to the side for a moment. We'll give all these stamps a bit of a clean, because we don't want to get them all stained, especially with those dark colours. Let's see, did that clean? No, not quite. I think I need to wash my chamois too. Actually, let's turn it over. You'll notice with my chamois it's quite stained. That doesn't affect how it cleans. It is actually clean, it's just stained from all the use. But I just wash it out under running water, and occasionally from time to time I'll actually soak them in dishwashing detergent and warm water, just to get them really, really clean and to take out any mustiness. Sometimes if they're sitting and they're wet for a prolonged time, they can get a little bit musty. So I do like to let them dry out from time to time as well, just to remove any of that mustiness. There we go, and last one. All right, good. Okay, so we've got our images, they're all stamped there. Now, as I said, we've got the dies. So we've got the large die for the pansies. Whoops, stuck to my finger. My finger was a bit damp from that wipe then. And then we've got the flower outline, the leaf outline die as well. Now, what I was going to say with the dies, okay, so they just fit like so. What I was going to say with the dies is you do have all of these different details. I haven't played yet with these detailed ones to put those pieces together once they're cut with cardstock, but they do look great. I've seen lots of projects done with them. I've mainly used the outline dies so far, but I will have a play with these ones another day as well. And I'm not sure if I'll do that on live or if I'll just make some projects and post them online, but we'll see. They look great with a little bit of inking on them as well, either with your daubers or your blending brushes. They look fantastic. Okay, so then I would run that through my die cutting machine. As I said, I've already prepared some earlier, so I don't need to make any more. I will save these ones for another project. Okay, I might make another one of these another time, just to save a bit of time. And I'm trying to go a bit quicker now because I've already had my phone battery die on me once. It's quite possible that it will die again. So let's just keep going. Okay, so now we've got our card already put together, which we did in take one before battery died. Jenny said she loves the pansies. Fantastic. Good. And Glenda said she soaks hers in water and bleach every now and then to lighten the staining. Oh, that's with your chamois, Glenda. That's a great idea too. All right, so then we've got all of the pieces, and I am going to put together my layers very similar to how Robin did on her original card as well, okay? Because this is the one that we're casing today. Okay, so our pink layer is going to be laying flat. Now what I like to do is when I'm creating a card is I like to lay everything down first, just to get the positioning of everything, to make sure that all my layers are fitting, that everything is sitting where it should. So this is how I like to do it, and then I will adhere everything down. Okay, so they kind of go like that, and then we can pop the leaves in. In fact, with these two leaves, they could actually be adhered to the back of the pink flower, because the pink flower is going to be adhered directly to the card base, and then the other ones are going to be layered up. So then these ones will be attached like so, and then these leaves will go down here. I was going to put one up there, but now I've got the label there. I might have to move this one down here like that. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. So I've got my glue at the ready. I've got my dimensionals at the ready. So we can start adhering all of these layers down. All right, so let's start with our pink flower, and I'm just going to put some glue in the middle of this one because I want to be able to slip those leaves in and under. So it's going to go about there like that. Okay, and that one's at a little bit of an angle, and then whoops, give that a little firm press, and then I'm going to slip my leaves in under. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back there, slip my little leaves in under, just giving them a little bit of a press to hold them in place. I'm not worried if they're not stuck all the way to the base of the leaf, because I do like them to sit up a little bit. You can even shape them a little bit too with your clean bone folder, not with your inky one. Don't use the inky one, use a nice clean one. If you want to do any shaping with your leaves or with your petals on your flowers, you could do that as well. Okay, and then this one is going to be popped up onto dimensionals. So let's I'll put a couple of dimensionals under this one. Probably just need 2. And this one's just going to overlap that one slightly, like so. There we go. And then I might come back in with the leaf. And then this one is going to be layered up on top of that one. So this one's going to be layered up on 2 layers of dimensionals so that it sits up higher than that one. Okay, so to do that, we'll just pop down 2 dimensionals as before, and then we'll remove those, remove the backing, sorry, and then we'll put another dimensional on top of each one of those, so that makes it 2 layers high. That way it's sitting up higher than the other 2 flowers. So then we've got 3 layers of flowers. There we go. So when you're putting your daisies, my goodness, your pansies down, these large leaves go at the top. That's usually the top of a pansy. Okay, so just pop that down, and this one's going to overlap these 2 slightly. Let's put that one down a little bit lower. Oops, a little bit, sitting a little bit lower than the other 2, just slightly, like so. Okay, and then we can pop our leaves under, and then at this point you can decide if you want to have your leaves just flat on that first layer, or if you want to have them, which I think I'm going to do, or if you want to have them up on dimensionals as well. You could put some of them up on dimensionals. I think with this one I'm just going to have it flat. I'll just tuck that in under there. And I'll use my Take Your Pick tool to just get in under there, just to hold that down, which is, see how I can get my Take Your Pick tool in under there, because I've just put my dimensional sort of towards the middle, so I can still get in under there. And then with these ones, I might just have 1 layer of dimensional under each one of these. So I'll just put 1 on each of these ones. There we go. And then if I have 1 going up this way, and then we'll put the other one coming down this way like so. There we go. And we'd already done in our take 1, our first filming, we already did our sentiment, which I showed you how to do in the first one. So there we go. Now we need to add our bling. I've got the bumblebee trinkets, which I showed at the beginning. And I thought I might put one of the bumblebees here on the sentiment, and then I'm going to use some of the in color bling as well. Should I put it, let's see, should I put it there or should I put it there? Maybe this way, so it looks like it's flying towards the flowers. You could even put it on the flowers if you wanted to. It's just a little bit hard to see. Yeah, I think I'll put it over here. I'm going to use a little glue dot for my little bee. They are just the perfect size to fit on one of those glue dots. Oh, in fact, I got a little bit overhanging. I didn't center that quite well then. So I'll just flick that up, glue that back down onto itself so that it's not overhanging. We don't want other things to be sticking to that. So let's put our little bee there, our little bumblebee, and then we'll take out some of our beautiful bling, our 2021 to 2023 in color jewels. These are so pretty, and we just need to decide which color. I might use the pink ones on these because they're really bright and fun, aren't they? They're really beautiful. And then you can just sprinkle these around here and there. You could even put these in the centers of the flowers if you wanted to. We've got some other little bees on the paper as well. Let's see, I might put one there. You could even splatter a few different colors of these if you wanted to on your card. There we go. So there is my finished project. So can you see the beautiful bling there? It's subtle on there because the background paper or the designer series paper is so busy, but you can see it, and it's got that little bit of bling, and you've got that gorgeous little bee there as well. So that's my take on Robin's card. That's Robin's card there. So that's my cased version of Robin's beautiful card. And Robin is here watching with us still. So thank you so much for your beautiful card, Robin. I really enjoyed casing your project. And yeah, I just love it. It's so pretty. So thank you so much. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Again, if you're looking for these products, they are in the annual catalogue. You can find them on pages 28 and 29. If you don't already have a catalogue, let me know. I would love to get one to you. This is the Pansy Petals Suite. I've used all of the products in the suite today. If you would like the whole suite, it's $123, and you've got one code at the top there that you can use to purchase that. Or if you want the individual products, you can do that. Remember that the stamp set and dies, you will get 10% if you purchase them together as a bundle. And who wouldn't want the dies? If you're going to get the stamp set, you'd be wanting the dies as well. Otherwise, it's a lot of fussy cutting. And when you've got dies, why fussy cut? So I hope you really liked that. Thank you so much, Jenny. Oh, what do I do on the inside? So my insides, usually I decorate up before I'm going to send it, because it depends on who I'm going to send it to. Sometimes if I've got leftover designer series paper, which I do in this case, I've got some strips left over from when I cut down that paper. So I'll put, let me see, so I've got all of these strips that I can use. That one's a different paper actually, so I won't use that one. But I've got these two strips from when I trimmed down the designer series paper layer. So what I will probably do is I'll probably put a white, well, you know what, let's do that right now. I've got cardstock right here, and I will show you how I decorate the insides of my cards. There's lots of different ways you can do it. You can stamp inside them, and sometimes I do that. But if I have offcuts of designer series paper, for me that's a quick way of decorating the inside. So I'll just trim this down. All right. And I'll bring this in and I'll show you. So much you can do with the suite, Robin. Yes, there definitely is. It's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so I'll bring in my trimmer. I start with a card front size, so it's basically one of my card bases cut in half. Okay, so if I layer that on there, you'll see it's just in half. So I usually start with my pieces of that size and then I trim it down. So for an insert inside a card, more often than not, I'll use white. Sometimes I will layer them on other colors. So for instance, with this one, I've used Evening Evergreen and then the Designer Series paper. So I might decide to do a double layer on the inside and have Evening Evergreen and then the white. I usually have white or a light color that I can write on and stamp on with my greeting on the inside. But for this one, I'll just show you just with a white layer. So my white layer I cut at 10 centimeters wide. This is for the insert. And then I do 14.45 long. Okay. Now, often if I'm not, actually let's do that on this one. I've got my dauber here and I've got my gorgeous, my Evening Evergreen ink pad, stamping pad. So if I'm not putting another color layer inside and I'm just putting white, sometimes I will just dauber the edges. It just gives another color to the inside so that it's not just sitting flat onto the base. Just gives it an added dimension to the card. And I love this Evening Evergreen. It's really a beautiful deep color. And we'll just go along the edges there. Oops, got a little bit of extra there. That's okay. Adds to the effect, doesn't it? Usually with the greetings on the inside of my cards, I will wait to stamp a greeting on the inside until I know who the card's going to go to and what the occasion is. I don't always stamp them. If I know in advance, but then I'll stamp it straight away. But often with my projects, because I'm making so many projects for my Facebook Lives and for my classes and for my technique club, I'm producing a lot of projects all the time, so I don't always know how I'm going to use them or who I'm going to be using them for when I create them. So I often just wait to stamp on the inside when I'm going to send them. All right, so I've got that one. Sorry, I'll just move Robin's card to the side for a moment. And I've got my 2 strips here. So I can decide now with these 2 strips to either put these leftover strips along the bottom. Now this one's a little bit short for the width of the card, but that's okay. I can actually just center that and just put that along the bottom. Or, oh, hi Julie. Yeah, no, that's okay, no worries. I let my phone just charge up a little bit and then I started filming again. So it's okay, you can watch the replay. I'll probably, yeah, there'll be in 2 separate videos on Facebook. But on YouTube, I'm not sure if I might try and stitch them together or just keep the 2 of them separate. I'll work that out later. So yeah, so now I can choose whether or not to put a strip down the side like that or to have that strip along the bottom. And I think for this one, I like the strip along the bottom. And even though it's a bit narrower than the card, it doesn't really matter. And we've got that inking on the edges anyway. So I'll just use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. Let me just bring in my, if I can grab that, my silicone craft sheet to do this on so I don't get glue all over my, actually I've got some glue on here, so let's turn it that way. Just don't want to get glue on my desktop. So you don't want to use too much glue because you don't want it to ooze on the inside of your card and become sticky. You don't want the 2 sides of your card to become stuck together. There we go. So we've got the glue on there and then I'll just flip that over, work out which way that looks like. Yeah, it looks like it goes up that way actually. And then just sort of line that up in the center. I've got that up from the bottom a little bit so that you can still see that inking along the bottom edge there. And just, oh, line that up straight and then adhere that down. There we go. And then, whoops, I'm knocking everything over here now because I'm trying to be fast. All right, and then we'll just adhere that to the inside. And then all I need to do is when I'm ready to send this, I will just find one of my beautiful sentiments, because I've got a nice sentiment on the front. So even if you wanted to leave it blank on the inside to write a personal greeting, I often do that as well. And I don't stamp a sentiment on the inside. I'll just leave it blank, write my own personal greeting and then send it off. There we go. So there we've got an insert now that matches with the front of our card. Now, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to use any leftover, I love using my scraps of DSP for things like that. But if you didn't want to use a scrap of DSP, I had those spare flowers that I had stamped, which now I don't know where I've put them. Oh, here they are. So I could have even die cut those if I wanted to, and maybe popped one of those down in the corner with a couple of leaves, which would have looked really nice. If I'm ever doing that on the inside, I always just stick it flat, not with dimension, because if you put any dimension on the inside of your card, then it won't close flat. And when it goes through the post, it does add to the bulk of it. It'll cost more to post, and it can also get damaged if it's being sent through the post as well. So I always like to try and keep anything I put on the inside flat. Yeah. Or you could even use your stamps and stamp directly onto your insert. If you're worried about mucking up, I would suggest stamping on your insert first before adhering it to the inside of your card. Okay, so there you go. So that's how we do it. Well, that's how I do it anyway. It's nice and quick for me. So there we go. So there's our two versions of our Pansy Petal card. That's Robin's version and my version. Robin used the designer series paper with the die cut leaves. I used the stamped images. So there you go. So thank you so much for your beautiful card, Robin. I loved casing that one. It was a lot of fun. All right, so let me turn the camera back up to my face to say goodbye to you in person. And I'm so thankful that my camera battery lasted this time and didn't conk out on us again. Give me a moment and I'll just cover up the camera and I'll just flip that up. Just one moment. Bear with me for a moment and I'll get this all lined up again. Okay, and let's flip those cameras. Flip, flip. Remove that and we'll get some light. Oops. Be careful with my lights. One of my lights, often I've got to be really careful. The one that's on my left, often when I move it, the cover comes off, not the cover, what do you call it? The shade comes off and falls on my desk and makes a huge big noise because it's metal. So I've always got to be careful when I turn that one. All right, so there's my card. So I hope you enjoyed watching how I put that together, and I do apologize again for the technical issues and the break in my my filming there, but hopefully you've been able to pick up on the first bit and then join me again for the second bit. So I hope you really enjoyed that, but it's really beautiful, that Pansy Petals Suite. So if you don't already have that one, definitely look at popping that one in your next order. And as I said to you, for the whole suite, if you love all of the products in that suite, for the whole suite, it's $123. Now just remember that your starter kit, if you would like to get a really great bargain and lots of freebies, then the starter kit is only $169. So it's not a whole heap more than that suite, but you get to choose $283 worth of product. So you could get that suite, some of our other suites you could add as well, or other bits and pieces from the catalog, whatever you like you can put in that starter kit. You get $114 worth of product for free when you purchase that starter kit, and then you'll get 20% discount on all of your purchases after that. So super great time to join. I would love to have you join my team. We have a great time together. I spoke about it on my first video. If you missed it, please go back and watch take 1 of today's live. And yeah, we just have a great time together. It's wonderful being a member of such a wonderful community, like stamping, crafting community. Everyone's so passionate about their paper crafting, and it's just lots of fun. I love sharing my passion with other people that get me, that get it, you know. So it's really a lot of fun, and I'd love to share in the fun with you. So if you would like any more information about that, or you have any questions, please let me know. If you go to my blog, which is mandyspapercraftcreations.blogspot.com, there is a joining button at the top. If you would like, if you're happy and you would like to do that straight away, there is a joining button there where you can click on that and join my team. Stampin' Up! Has made it easier to do that as well. And it's quite easy. You just follow the steps as you go through, but I'm here if you need help. Please reach out to me and I'd love to be able to help you and walk you through that. But if you're still unsure and you've got more questions, feel free to get in contact with me. No pressure to sell. You don't need to sell. Just purchase the products for yourself. Enjoy the crafting community and enjoy the beautiful discount, which we all love. So I will leave it there. There are only 2 more days actually to join with our Join Plus promotion. So to get that $117 worth of free product. So be sure to join before the 31st of May to get those additional freebies. Okay, well, I will leave it there. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm planning to be back on Monday as usual, Monday 4 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you can all join me then. I've already got planned what we're going to be playing with that day, and I'm going to be showing you some more new products. So I look forward to seeing you all then, and until then, happy crafting everyone. Bye.